Once again, another cardiovascular conversation with Dr. Harvey White, founder and executive director of Vessel Health, the cardiology prevention practice. Is that a fair way to describe it here in New Mexico? And that's the scope of what you do.
And that's true, Larry. And thanks again for having me here on the show.
Great to talk to you.
These are extremely important topics, I can tell you, and it's so crucial that this word gets out. And I'm not sure that it really has, in spite of all the effort we've put into it.
All right, a little test here. I'm going to just kind of give you what I think a heart attack is, or what the symptoms are, and then you tell me how right on I am, or
I can give you a diploma. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So if I understand the symptoms of a heart attack, there's the pressure on the chest. People describe it as somebody like an elephant on your chest. That's the first one, right?
Yep.
Then there's sweating. There's a lot of profuse sweating that goes on. Is that correct?
You know, those are actually very important symptoms, you might say.
It's about all I know. What else would I notice?
You don't get the diploma, right?
Okay.
Okay. Let's just back up a bit and to review with the audience and the listeners. Heart attack affects both men and women.
Right.
All right.
Symptoms are the same for both?
They're not quite the same.
They're not.
That was what made me think of this. The difference being that women can have more atypical symptoms, or not the usual symptoms. And those could be jaw ache, neck ache, shortness of breath, arm discomfort. So it is not, the heart does not have nerves. And so it makes it very difficult to kind of have a sense of whether one's having a heart attack, and also for a doctor to figure out whether it is a heart attack.
I see.
That is the mystery of the whole thing. But to mention also, though, for people that are interested in this issue, heart attack does affect men, and it starts, peaks around age 55, and 60, right in that age frame. And then it affects women at about age 70. And then it's a horse race after that. Women and men about equal frequency of heart attacks. Heart attack involves a blockage, 100% blockage in one of the heart arteries. And if you look at this little model, Larry, there are 3 heart arteries. A right coronary on the surface of the heart, one in the front, the left anterior descending artery, and one on the back or left side circumflex artery. Any of those can be prone to developing plaque or atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, and any of them can be prone to a total occlusion. And I explained that to you. That involves a plaque that ruptures and a blood clot forms there acutely.
So what does the heart actually do when that happens?
The heart is very unhappy, I can tell you.
I would imagine.
This is very similar, in fact, to an individual climbing Mount Everest and getting frostbite, or putting a tourniquet on your finger. So what happens is the blood that should be going down the heart artery stops. And the muscle downstream, let's say it was a blockage right here, keeps beating and keeps wanting nutrients. The nutrients are cut off, just like a tourniquet on your finger, frostbite on your foot, or not watering a plant. But the problem is the heart is a huge consumer of energy. It needs energy all the time, and so it dies very rapidly. It's not like a cactus that you cannot water. It's like a plant that you need to water all the time.
So not just a part of the heart dies, but the whole thing can die.
No, it's actually the part that's served by that particular blood vessel. So if it's the blockage is farther down the blood vessel, less of the heart.
I see, but if it's up here,
more of the heart. The more heart muscle, the more catastrophic. Yes. The muscle, pardon the analogy, turns to like hamburger. Okay, it becomes what they call infarcted, and that's why it's called a myocardial infarction. So that is the cause of a heart attack. When I was in medical school, which you think might be recent, but it's not, we had no treatment for that. All we did was put people in bed and give them morphine. That's all we knew what to do. And then my career, actually, in cardiology was simultaneous with us discovering that we could open those heart arteries. And that was the real genesis or beginning of what we call interventional cardiology. So we began by giving blood clot dissolving medicines, either in the artery or in the vein in the arm, and then learned how to actually go in and root those out with a little balloon.
This does not sound good. And this is what we want to prevent. So that's the most catastrophic event to happen. We can prevent this though, right?
It is preventable. It's preventable by beginning to focus on one's cardiovascular health at an earlier age, and develop some lifestyle and perhaps medications that would help mitigate or prevent plaque.
This is the kind of work Dr. White does at Vessel Health. How can people reach you?
Larry, we're available on the phone, 505-828-3000. We have a website, vesselnm.com. That's VESSELNM, which stands for New Mexico.com.